Tombs of the Erased is a huge step in right direction for Last Epoch, and I have some positive things and a couple of minor gripes with the update. And the things that I'm not crazy about in this update is somewhat connected to the OG version of the game. But overall, I have spent a lot of time on this character, and I have finally gotten to corruption, which I didn't even know how works in the game before. So, well, let's start from the beginning. So, the campaign itself's pretty much untouched. There are some improvements to the game overall that are felt in the campaign as well. One of the noticeable things is a slight improvement to the visual fidelity of the game and the smoothness, the way the character moves around. It is really kind of hard to explain, but it just feels slightly better. There is also an inventory management update which sorts your crafting materials directly into your crafting bag, let's call it like that. And other stuff like respawning at the boss if you have an extra key instead of going through the whole dungeon again, or respecting your mastery and stuff like that. All good things that do not take away from the game at all. And I feel for campaign that is more than enough. Sure, I'd like to see maybe they add some kind of cool extra new mechanics in the campaign, but considering how fast you go through it, it's about 10 to 12 hours, it never gets tedious. You are always excited to get a new skill point to put into your tree or into your passive tree, and since the crafting is still the king of crafting, and it is really easy to just slam things onto your items and get meaningful upgrades early on in the game, that just never gets old. I can always just go roll a new character and start going through the campaign with it easily. It's always fun. I even just rolled a rogue when I got my feel of the endgame. So let's talk about the endgame, because the majority of updates and changes reflects to the endgame, and to be truthful, the game really needed, because 1.0's endgame had good foundations, but it just wasn't there, at least not for me. Season 2 brings new system to the endgame for map placement of woven echoes and many more things. Visiting tombs and cemeteries in the monoliths yields you a new echo map. When placed in the altar on a specific map, you can build your own echo web and chase the new content. This is a new addition to the old way that you are completing the things in the endgame, because it introduces new thing to chase. And the pacing is really well done. Since I have come to the corruption levels, new maps have opened up for me, and I got kind of slightly bored of the old ones, so introducing new types of maps was really nice pacing. And each of the woven maps is different and unique, and they all present some kind of new reward or opportunity to do something with your gear. And the first time that you complete a new map or progress your end faction, you get 1 point to spend in the Weaver tree. And this was a much needed thing. The tree gives you an option to chase the content that you enjoy, would like to see more of, or not at all. If you dislike arena maps, you can turn them off entirely. I spec towards the loot lizard right away because I love chasing the little bastard. And there are many more different things that you can chase on the tree, and since the game is showering you with loot, the question of getting what you need is not if, but when. And some of the maps are completely unique and offer completely different styles of play. One of my favorites is that Zerg-looking queen, where I died like 20 times before I killed her. It is one of the bosses you cannot face tank, at least I couldn't, and I had to develop a hit and run strategy to get her down. Another one of the favorites was the map where there was just a ton of shrines, and you would just get all these kind of buffs and zoom through the map, just quickly killing everything and always hoping that one of those shrines would be the loot lizard shrine, when you would spawn like 8 or 10 of them and just go wild. And there are many more good upgrades, things, mechanics and stuff to do around in the endgame now. With sets not being something really good and interesting, now you have a chance to turn any item into a set item. Rerolling uniques to maybe get a higher legendary potential, attribute swapping, weaving your class idols, and many more runes to improve your chances of getting the gear that you want while crafting. And I do think that this update is a huge leap in the game as a whole. There is many little improvements that have just brought the game up, and the end game has lifted my interest and overall feel of the endgame grind. It has given it direction, it has given you more choices on what you want to do and what kind of loot do you want to chase. And that is a huge step up. With all that said, I do have a little bit of, I wouldn't even call them complaints. I would say maybe something that I wish for a potential season 3 or some kind of mid-season refresh to bring to the game. One thing that I would say is that the whole corruption thing feels great, but I finished last 3 Monolith nodes before the last one up there, and then the game just kind of pushed me back and tell me, oh, now do all over this again on a higher difficulty. I was really ready to fight the boss, and maybe I was already feeling a little bit of fatigue, and I just don't feel that I want to go back and do all over chasing harbingers. And even I got 2 harbingers down and the third one didn't spawn, and then I realized I needed higher corruption for the third one to spawn, and then I went to the edge of the map and killed I think it's Shade of Orobis or something like that, and he increased my corruption by 6. And I don't know if it's 6 a fixed number or is there like range from 5 to 10 or something like that, but I needed 125 and I was just like, yeah, not really feeling doing this all over again just to get to the final boss. Because the game, I have seen most of what the end game offers now. And this is not me complaining. I understand this is a small team of developers working their asses off to bring us more. This is my hope that season 3 brings something more unique, more fun, break it up a little bit to give us a little bit of more diversity in this chase for the final boss. Also, one thing that felt slightly underwhelming are these new weaving idols. So you can only put class specific idols, and I have played Spellblade, and Spellblade, I'm not sure if I'm right about this, but it felt like it lacked some unique item support. And also the idols that I was rolling, the mage specific idols, just I couldn't find any good. And whenever I would get a Weaver's Wheel, which I really like the Weaver's Mill mechanic on the idols, but the stats and the bonuses felt so small and insignificant that after a while I just stopped doing it. I put something that gave me a small upgrade and I was done with it. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there is very little to complain about here. I have dumped over 60 hours into my Spellblade. I have absolutely enjoyed this new season, and I hope they keep on bringing us more good and interesting stuff. And I'm definitely gonna join in on the new season, and even before, maybe when I just get the urge for a little bit of mindless grinding, I can jump in on my Spellblade or a new rogue that I have started and just kill some mobs and get some loot. So that's it from me today, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, click the things down below and drop a comment. How do you feel about the season 2 and this video? And as always, thank you for watching.